I wish I could have had that fade out, but I didn't. How's it going, guys? How's it going today? We're doing ourselves a little... I get up the actual dashboard here. We're doing ourselves a little flash tournament in the vein of Turin. He is very adamant about me doing it as well, and I said, okay, hey, sure. I'm still kind of like amped up on all the creative juices of the Ever-Chosen Invitational. So today we're going to be starting off with a 4-player tournament. We're going to have Janet on occasion, pro player Janet on occasion, versus Professor Pone, followed shortly by Gojira and Dov plays. Let's get the scoreboard up here. See if I can do this properly. Janet, transition. Boom! Look at that! Isn't that nice? It's right there! It's up there! It's up there! Alright. Where do I get all this music from? A guy named Gurney? It's in my thing. It's in my description. NCM Epic Music Ender Güney. That's where I get all the good stuff from. So, no, Dov, you're not first, because you were originally going to be first, and then I messed up and put the wrong one up, just like that. So let me fix everything. God, there it goes. Gojira shall win this. So yeah, Dov, you are not first. It's Janet on occasion, Professor Pone. I feel like I'm drunk this morning. But we're going to get everything going here today. As always, the same rules apply to Turin's tournament. Same thing with this one. 25% of donations after YouTube takes things out of it, because they like rob 30% of it, they do go towards the winner. We will have a best of 3 matches. So Dov plays and Gojira and Janet on occasion, Professor Pone will both play best of 3 matches, followed by the finals, which is a best of 5. Thank you very much, Darth Carmen. We appreciate it, man. Pro player Janet. Pro player Janet on occasion versus Professor Pone here today. It looks like they're doing Empire versus Chaos. They're going to get their armies ready here, and this will be a pretty interesting fight. What is the rule set for army composition? Emperor side, it's the same one that we had during the Ever-Chosen Invitational, so stuff like no duplicate monsters, like you can't have multiple Cygors, a lot of rules that pertain themselves to just kind of preventing a lot of general cheese. You have to maintain combat. You can't just be kind of like running around draw-kiting people. You have to maintain combat. You go ahead when you guys are ready. So Janet will be playing the Empire versus the fierce Warriors of Chaos. Warriors of Chaos have had a pretty like weird... Damn, Grievous looks sick in that logo. Yeah, he's just kind of peeking out, just like that. That's Grievous. My mic has a tendency to cut out. I will make sure that doesn't happen as best I can. I can't promise anything, unfortunately. And if I'm checking over my shoulder occasionally, it's because I'm in the middle of a heat wave. I have to keep my door open. If I don't, I will melt into an iceberg. But I have a cat that keeps, like, trying to swarm me. Okay, just looking at chat, making sure we're all good. So yeah, as soon as Professor Pone's ready, we'll get things going here. But yeah, Chaos kind of had a pretty interesting... Oh, Janet's got some fun army here. Chaos has had a very interesting kind of run of things, right? They went from being a relatively underpowered faction to now kind of being a pretty good mainstay. You know, Chosen are always a really great choice. You have a lot of really good options here against Empire, and Empire does have a lot of great options against Chaos. This is very much like a thematic theme, you know, the Empire versus the Chaos from the Northern Wastes coming down to sack Altdorf or to many of the other different Empire like city-states, colonies, or not colonies, not colonies at all. And you're bad at counting. Thanks, Seawolf. Hey, what's up, Nathaniel Robinson? All right, so we'll get this on the road. We'll take a look at both armies and hopefully have a fun little death match here. Today was your first day of classes, Ryan Lacey. Well, I hope you enjoy classes, and I'm glad we could lighten the load, as it were. All right, so let's take a look at what we got. We'll go Empire first. So it looks like Janet on occasion is rolling deep with the Empire. Are these mortars? Oh, some Hellblaster volley guns. Now these things are going to be really good here, as I try to zoom in on them, because Hellblaster volley guns, they do have 600... I don't even know where the hell they went. There they are. They do have 600 ranged weapon strength that's really great here because it's all, not all, but a significant amount of it is AP. It's going to be super strong against your Chaos infantry line, which is predominantly heavy armored. And on top of that, they do have handgunners, which is going to really help mulch up a lot of those units that we're going to be seeing on the battlefield from Chaos, because those handgunners, again, they do that AP damage. They're going to be really strong here. Used to seeing sunlight when it's dark outside. Yeah, I had that problem too. So we've talked about this before, especially during the actual Everchosen, is having kind of layers to armies such as the Dwarfs or as Empire. And I keep wanting to call him Dob. Janet on occasion has done just that. So he's got flanks of spearmen, so he can really protect against any kind of cavalry charge, any kind of Chaos Warhounds that are coming on the left and right flanks. He has a nice solid center line of great swords. Nice thing about these great swords here is, in Southern California, I want to check. No crackheads walking in. Yeah. The thing about these great swords is that they have AP and they are anti-infantry, so they are going to be pretty significant as far as damage dealing against Chaos infantry, against Chosen. They do have a really hard matchup against Chosen, but Chaos Warriors as a whole, halberds, great weapons, or the sword and shield variant, they can exchange with them extremely well and cut through a lot of that armor. Let's take a look at Cav units. Looks like we just have the Reiksguard and another unit of Reiksguard. This is going to help them either chase down or ride over any infantry, but also it can help protect the flanks against Marauder Horsemasters, some Chaos Knights with lances and or sword and shield variant. It just depends on what we get on the opposite side of the field, and these are a really great way to... Can we start yet? No, Janet, I'm not done describing everything. We have Balthazar Gelt, the mighty Gelt himself, master of metal. He's going to be able to drop some final transmutations, it looks like. Yep, final transmutation. And he has a staff of Volans, which is in part a kind of a dual choice with the Witch Hunter, because this allows him to use final transmutation and accusation at the same time, and they get another final transmutation out quickly. Go for it. And he does have a light wizard, so he'll be able to use Net of Amantak, and he has Foz protection as well. Net of Amantak is going to help him lock down any kind of charges that would otherwise be very, not opportunistic for the Empire. Now, taking a look over here at Professor Pone's army, it is glorious. We see a nice front line of Chaos Warriors. We see some Forsaken on the outskirts of that faction line, or that unit line, which is really good. Those have... as you can see here, the Regiment of Renown unit. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought those were Forsaken. Yeah, that's Forsaken. These guys have a very, very, very good charge bonus and a very high speed at 46. So they're going to be able to wrap up on the Empire and really get in that backline, which is good. Now, Professor Pone did a kind of a unique build, one that's a little bit older. He went with 2 Exalted Heroes, both on Manticores, and then his Chaos Lord on... a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Shadows on a dragon. So this is a little bit older of a build, and one you kind of saw more in Total War Warhammer 2. As you can see, the Hellblaster Volley Gun is choosing the Forsaken as their target. Don't want them in their backline because they will mulch up these Spearmen hot and heavy. But definitely has some outriding units wherever I can't find them. Right here. Ah. Some Chaos Warhounds with poison, ready to kind of get in that line, eat up things as stuff gets engaged. Reiksguard getting ready to hit down onto these Forsaken, which is a really good first option. Since they are anti-infantry, well, they have a bit of an anti-infantry bonus. They can really do a bit of damage here. Oh, yeah, there it is. Boom! Right down that conga line of Forsaken, doing tons of damage to them. Yeah, and first initial engagement has gone off. You've got the Mirror Guard fighting against Spearmen, which is going to be a pretty insignificant fight for the Spearmen, but with the support of the Hellfire or Hellblaster cannon as well as the handgunners, they're doing a significant amount of damage here. Oh man. Reiksguard just kind of getting that back line, getting some damage on. Looks like accusation. Oh. Maybe just a couple of shots were just kind of ticked off on the oh! Oh, a great breath attack against these handgunners, ripping through a whole 50% of their health. Net of Amantak. Accusation kicked off on the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. We have Shadows coming in here, the Pendulum ripping through more handgunners, shutting down that backline pretty hard and heavy here. Loving what's going on. You got the Exalted Hero jumping on another unit of handgunners. Reiksguard punching through some more Forsaken in a cycle charge action. Whoo! Things are going wild up in this piece. The front line, for the most part, is kind of holding true. They are holding up against just the Greatsword, so it is a little bit of an interesting fight, but Final Transmutation is kicking off here. Balthazar Gelt gets in with that the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on a dragon. Enfeebling Foe is on him, so he won't be doing as much damage. He will be getting him more often, but he's already, the Chaos Sword is already in really bad shape, and Gelt is going in for the masked kill. You got the Witch Hunter being knocked around by the Exalted Hero as well. The Sorcerer of Light trying to get another net off, or at least Fast Protection. There it is, Fast Protection is over here on these Great Swords, trying to hold the line against both these units of Chaos Warriors. Let's get a look at the overall kind of battlefield here. We do have some Reiksguard that are still a little bit online, but for the most part, the Forsaken have started to wrap up into the back line. We're getting rear charges onto the Spearmen. Now, this Hellblaster Volley Gun is completely shut down. We still have one online, trying to knock out what's left of this Chaos Sorcerer Lord as Balthazar Gelt charges through the air. Both units of handgunners have come back online, and they're starting to get shots into both the Exalted Hero and to the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, trying to get them out of the fight as quick as possible. It's only going to take a couple more volleys to really knock this out, but oh! The handgunners getting roasted by a brutal breath attack again. That's 2 breath attacks on the same unit of handgunners, I believe. Man, this is just a bloodbath. Hellblaster Volley Gun ripping into those halberdiers over here. Exalted Hero eating up these spearmen. And right now you can see that that Janet on occasion is really in a tight spot. You got Balthazar Gelt, who's running low on health. Oh! You just saw this here. Professor Pone's lovely Chaos Dragon is now dead. The beast with 2 backs. That is not in any way a reference to Othello's having sex. You got the Exalted Hero shutting down this Hellblaster Volley Gun, which is a good kind of late game move right here. You need that out of the fight. Final Transmutation? Oh, Net of Amontok. That's going to lock this guy down here as he gets a charge by the Reiksguard, hopefully putting an end to this Exalted Hero. He's in a real bad position. Got one good unit health of Great Swords here. Can help knock out the rest of this of these Chaos Warriors to really kind of tip the balance in the favor of the Empire. But at one point, this had swung over to Janet on occasion, and swung over to Professor Pone, and swung back to Janet. So it's a pretty much a no holds bar right now. Woo! Balthazar Gelt just fleeing mad as from the Exalted Hero on a Mana Core, trying to get that ass as quick as possible. Balance of power is still at 50%. I know you guys can't see it, but it's pretty even here with the Great Swords getting into this really last pocket of Chaos fighters. It's really going to be pretty much a done deal, I think, for Jenner on occasion as he kind of clinches this one at the last minute. Need the scoreboard to be bigger? I can make that bigger, trust me. There we go. Making it a little bit smaller for you guys. That way you can see a little bit more of the battlefield. There you go. Man, that was a pretty brutal one. I mean, you still have an Exalted Hero in this, so it's not over just yet. And the Mirror Guard is still hanging on, as well as the Chaos Warriors with halberds, although a Final Transmutation has kind of kicked off, and it is going to kind of help put that nail, the metal nail in the coffin, as it were. If these Great Swords can do a significant amount of damage in conjunction with the... Ooh, I don't know. Things are pretty dicey here. Ares' prediction for the outcome of this tournament is that he likes turtles. Uh-oh, there it is. I think it's all lost now for the Chaos as they kind of... What's left of their leadership is starting to really kind of flee away as it kind of comes back and forth, so we shall see here. Reiksguard trying to lock it down. I'm pretty sure they're out of Winds of Magic at this point, so they can't get a net of Amontok out to keep that Exalted Hero on the ground. Reiksguard just trying to tickle that thing. Although I'm not gonna lie, I do love the Exalted Heroes. Any Chaos Lord was so cool in tabletop as both a model and a centerpiece of the army, and I mean it's that very same way in Total War Warhammer. And there it is. We have a win, our very first one for Janet on occasion. Woo! That was pretty wild, guys. I'm not gonna lie. As I update the scoreboard really quick here. Import as a lovely PNG. Hang tight. I'm doing this on the fly, so it's going to be kind of jankety. Okay. There we go. That should have updated. There we go. Okay, so we see that Janet just pulled this one out here. He got 46 lovely kills on the Balthazar Gelt, but as I was saying, the Great Swords did a really good job here. 83 and 105 kills, really kind of brought home the punishment. You have 35 and 102 kills from the Hellblaster volley guns, and none of them were shooting into like low value targets, right? Usually you get these really, really large, I'm good, Arthur Daphos. You usually get these really large kill counts from stuff when you have a lot of chaff units to eat up. In this case, everything really kind of did its job to really puncture into the enemy. The handgunners were shut down pretty handedly by Professor Pone, though. I mean, he had Pendulum going off on them. He had charges going off into them. Exalted Heroes jumping into them. So you can even take a look, 79, 52, 31 from all the monstrous creatures from the Warriors of Chaos. So they were really able to get in that back line and harass the Empire pretty well. So an amazing first match here. And it looks like we're going to have the Wood Elves squaring off against the Dark Elves on this one. So I'm going to start when they're ready. Let's take a look over here. Scoreboard kind of too big. Is it still too big? I can continue to make it smaller. Do that. There we go. Transition. There you go. That should be a little bit better of a scoreboard there for you. Let me know if that suits your fancy a little bit more, gentlemen. So as always, guys, 25% of donations do go towards the winners. So if you want to make any donations in specific to anyone, like, hey, you know, I'm betting towards my bro, Prof. Pone. If he does win, this will go, 25% of the wins do go towards the competitors. You can donate on Super Chat or on the thing below, whatever the hell it's called, Labs, whatever's best for you guys. So you make the choice, and I'll put it in. Not like hypothetically speak. Cats are asleep. Good day. So this is a pretty interesting fight here. Wood Elves have always kind of been the top of the power curve, at least in the past couple months, or at least since Total War Warhammer 2 came out. They've always just been extremely strong. And the Dark Elves are really no slouches either. I'd say if you're putting Wood Elves at the very top, Dark Elves are like right below them. If you want to put it that way. I don't really know at this point if the Wood Elves are number one, but hey, what's up, Ritual? But right now they have really good just standard base troop. Their Eternal Guard, AP, Defense Against Large, and Anti-Large. They're really, really, really strong. For only 550 points, you can have them with shields, and they get the job done. Their War Dancers are really great units for as far as being effective flank guards or backline guards if you have the Aserai with spears. Really great troops. And then all of their cavalry, while not the most heavy of shock cav, they do a really good job of getting the backline and mucking it up fast, because they do have a significant amount of damage that they can do, and they are quite quick. Touchdown on the Angling video. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Rich. So we're on round 2 of this best of 3 match. Jenna on occasion has won. Oh yeah, guys, definitely hit that like button. We got 115 viewers. Woo woo! Make sure you hit that like button. No, we have not fired up a Facebook yet, Ritual. God, I can't wait until you guys see Turin's new donation notification. He showed it to me, and I was like, God, I'm so fucking jealous. It's so funny. Ugh. As our opponents choose their sides, we get soon ready to... Are you really Italian? Yes, I'm 100% Italian, Zoichi. Smashing that like button. Smashing that like button like potatoes. Why isn't it called smashed potatoes? I live in California, yes. Turin and I live about like 30, 45 minutes away from each other. Can you throw a Discord link in chat? I cannot. I just found out you were a cat person, Ryan. I always thought you were... whoa! Darth, I am not a cat person. Let's get that shit right now, guys. I am a super dog person. I want to get a German Shepherd and name him Saxon. That is definitely a nod to Hot Fuzz, but also I like history. My roommate has got 2 cats. And I feed them because I love animals. Below me is a golden retriever. Cats, dogs. Get the fuck out, Ares. Like think of it this way. If you own a cat, you smell like you own a cat. If you have a dog, oh, they're so fun. They love you. Are you a made man, Spartacus? My uncle was. No, I'm not a cat person sold. Guys, I'm just gonna rage quit this stream right now. Okay, so let's take a look at these armies. I forgot I'm actually doing a tournament cast here. So Janet on occasion again went with these lovely wood elves. You know what? I gave Janet a lot of attention last time. Let's go over to our dark elves. I didn't know the dark elves a little bit better anyway. So it looks like Professor Pone went pretty wide with his dark elves, going with a nice front line of bleak swords, which are really nice. They have really great range defense with some nice little silver shields. They're really good, just cheap, effective units. They're not quite as good as Eternal Guard, because Eternal Guard have so many more things going for them. But Bleak Swords, they've always been a really strong thing. In tabletop, the thing that made Bleak Swords really great is that no other elf faction had just a standard sword infantry unit. The Wood Elves and the High Elves are the same exact thing. You know, they have just standard spearmen. So the Bleak Swords really give you that umph as far as having just a standard sword infantry unit. Now, he did go pretty wide again with Sisters of Singing Doom, Witch Elves, and Witch Elves, and I saw the Sisters of Slaughter, I thought, out here. Now, the cool thing about the Sisters of Singing Doom here is that they also cause terror, which is a really amazing fact, but also they're just going to cut through the majority of any infantry they get across, and the nice thing about them is they have, now, it's not a literal tanking, but they have the ability to pretty much lock something down by enraging it, and causing rampage. By causing rampage, it cannot do anything else on the battlefield. It's stuck to what it's doing at that current moment. There's your Sisters of Slaughter. We have 2 units of Harpies, which is really great here. So actually, this is a pretty common tactic to take Malekith on a dragon and then 2 Harpies to basically shut down any opposing air force. Let's see here. If I can get this to go right. Okay, there it is. So the Harpies actually have a pretty significant AP. Not great by any imagination, but I mean 12 is, for what they are, they're really low cost, they're pretty cheap, they swarm things, so you can get them up and close and personal. And if you have them accompany another lord, you can shut down air really quick. On top of it, you have the Knights of the Even Hand. I love these guys. These are probably my favorite Dark Elf unit in the game. The nice thing about them is that they are very effective, they're very armored, they have really great weapon strength, they have a really great charge, they're great at staying in combat. They don't have the anti-large bonus of Cold One's with spears, obviously. In this case, though, they don't rampage. They're going to be able to stay in the fight for a long time, and I love that. I think that's been the one thing I don't like about Cold One Riders as the tabletop versus Total War is that they rampage, so it kind of makes their effectiveness very, very limited. My lord, let us know when to start, my lord. My lord! Okay, we'll talk about Janet's army here as the armies kind of converge. We'll go into his lord, who is just simply a Glade Lord, but by simply being a Glade Lord, he still has, where is it? Prey of Anothrama, which you can lock down, and it does reduce their missile resistance, so you'll be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Now, you've got two Wild Riders here. I thought these were 3 Wild Riders with shields. Oh, there's the Sisters of Thorn. And this will allow you to really get in that back line, kind of get a lot of harassment going. A lot of Glade Guard. I think that Janet was expecting a lot more elite infantry from Professor Pone, and to see that not here, I just want to make sure my mic was still going. To see that not here is pretty interesting. So, I haven't seen Wildwood Rangers in a fortnight, not to reference the game. Now these guys have AP, they do stock, they do quite a bit of damage, so it's interesting to see these guys, but let's see if Janet gets this charge in. Looks like he does, and that's going to be pretty brutal, because these Knights of the Even Hand, oh man, things are just ripping off on these Knights quick and hot and heavy. Getting some War Dancers in behind them. Got a charge in here of some Sisters of Slaughter, which are going to probably mulch up through these Glade Guard very quickly. Oh my god, this is just getting brutal. I mean, just had these overlapping conflict here. Oh my god, it's just going to turn to a giant melee in the center. As the Harpies kind of shut down these Wild Riders, or at least just lock them up for the time being. The Wild Riders will win this engagement handedly, so it's not too much of a worry. I see no ranged, only Sisters of Thorn, which are now fighting these Sisters of Slaughter. There's a sister-on-sister action. Oh! God, look at this. Shield of Thorns being used. It's just giant... Uh-oh. Getting Malekith jumping in here. Oh, God. Soul Stealer ripping off here to get... So... Oh, man! Whew! So what Malekith's doing here is he's kicked off Soul Stealer so he can kind of tank more damage as he jumps in on this Branch Wraith. The Branch Wraith is giving melee attack bonuses to the entirety of the Wood Elf line. But the Wood Elves are crumpling so quickly against the combined onslaught of the Sisters of Slaughter and all of the Witch Elves. The Witch Elves are going to be able to kill all these Wood Elf units in melee combat quite easily. Oh, man. This one's been a pretty quick one. Malekith is choosing now to just beat up on this Branch Wraith, has completely devoured it. Goodbye, little buddy. And he takes to the skies. This is not looking very good for Janet on occasion. He's in a really tough spot here. You have a lot of high damage units up and running with no range units to really shut them down. Very interesting build here. Usually, you see at least 1 or 2 Eternal Guard to help you. I'm sorry, these are the Eternal Guard. Glade Guard are the ranged variants. Usually you see a lot more ranged combat to help. Oh! Got a Noxious Breath that just misses our Glade Lord here. But it's interesting because we don't see enough ranged combat to really do a significant portion of damage to all of these lightly armored Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter. So we're in a really, really tough spot here. Wild Rider is just kind of marauding through the back line here, trying to get some good charges in. Uh-oh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Malice kicking in on these Eternal Guard, ripping through them. You've got both units of Wild Riders jumping onto Malekith here, the Sisters of Thorn supporting them with some fire. It might be a bad news bears here for Mali, especially if we get a Prey of an Othraman lock to knock him down even more. Oh, there we go. Some War Dancers coming in. There it is. Prey of an Othraman locks him down. Getting into that close combat, keeping him down on the ground, trying to get some sort of win out from Janet on occasion against Professor Pone right here. God, look at this. Let me know if the game sound is too loud, guys. For me, it sounds different. These things are... Oh! Another Soul Stealer to tank through the amount of damage. He is completely swarmed. Soul Stealer is going to rip through all of these units, do damage on them, while also giving that damage back to Malekith. So it is a very great way to, just like I said, tank through a lot of damage. But look at this. Look at this tide of Dark Elves. Just ready to flex their abs all over their Wood Elf bros. All right. Woo! So, we're coming to the third match of this best of 3. It looks like Professor Pone kind of won this one a little more handedly than the last game, which was a little bit more of a tug back and forth. So let me update our scoreboard here. Going into our third round. We're 1 for 1. Please just bear with me here. I have to update it all on Photoshop. It's like I'm doing the very first. There we go. Updated, and it did! Yay! Alright. That was a pretty... Oh, I didn't even look at the post-battle. So that was a pretty brutal fight, right? By not taking any ranged from Janet on occasion, which I think was a choice that he made to try and... Have you seen a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show? Hold on. What Janet was doing was trying to take like an off-meta pick to try and throw off Professor Pone, but Professor Pone had basically everything that countered that pick. All the Sisters of Slaughter, all those Witch Elves were able to beat up the entire Wood Elf front line. The Wood Elves don't really have a very beefy front line. Wildwood Rangers, while really cool, don't really have the staying power of the majority of, say, just the Eternal Guard. So what you run into here is without Glade Guard to really burst down the Witch Elves, the Sisters of Slaughter, who have a very poor defense, or I'm sorry, armor. I think it's like 5 and 10 respectively. You run into basically this blender that's going to run through your whole entire army. Now, Jeddah did have some really good picks and really good plays there. He was able to get a Prey of Nothrama off on Malekith when he did land both his Wild Riders onto Malekith as well as those Sisters of Thorn. If he hadn't gotten a Soul Stealer off, he wouldn't have been in real bad shape. I guess they have a Dwarven army with one hero. I need to start. Good. Cat Neko, good to see you. That is great. Good. 151. All right, I need a report. Seawolf, what's our likes to views ratio? Hit me. Little Greenskins versus Norskins. I like this. This will be a pretty interesting fight, I think. A 25%? Guys. Currently our elected dislike is 40-0. Guys, you got to be slamming that little thumb. Tickle that thumb for us. Any YouTuber you watch, it doesn't even matter if you don't like me, because I have no hair and all my hair moved down to my chin. If you like their videos, if you like their streams, anything like that, like pressing the actual physical like button, you're basically telling Google that yes, this information reflects the title and the content, and it is like it is true. It's like the triangle. So by doing that, you bump that YouTuber's like quality score. It's not really a quality score. It's like an effective quality score. It's not really the same thing up, so that they get more viewership. So if you like Turin's videos, you like Indie Pride's videos, Party Elite's videos, always hit that like button, because it seems like a really stupid little thing, but that's how they pretty much like assign trust to the video. It's really dumb. Like we're not doing it because I'm not telling you to press the thumb button because I like to get thumbed. Oh, mouth of the pass. So we chose maps that are a little bit more unconventional, things that are not as common. Oh, I didn't see. All right, so Mateo made a $10 donation. Thank you very much, Mateo. 25% of the donations do go towards the winners. So 25% at the very end, 25% of the total donations after YouTube and like the tax of whatever comes out of it. That will go to the winner of the tournament. All right, so we looked at Prof P a lot last time. Let's look at Janet. See if he can pull this one out here. Let's take a look. So, a lot of Night Goblins, which are great because Night Goblins have a lot of stock. Choosing a lot of Goblins in any army kind of helps give you an upper hand. Oh, the dreaded Goblin firing line. The dreaded Goblin firing line comprises of the Rusty Errors, which are... Oh, I never saw their little hats. I like their little hats. I mean, what? The nice thing about them is that their melee attacks are poison, so that's kind of cool. But the big thing is, of course, this Sunder armor ability. Minus 32 armor is pretty significant. And if you have them in conjunction with two other Night Goblin Archers, or Goblin Archers, sorry, you're going to be able to pour out a lot of missile damage. Sorry, I was looking at the chat there real quick. So the nice thing here is that it'll allow you to knock down the larger and heavier objects in the Norscan army, i.e. this big bad boy, Wolfric the Wanderer. Just talking about the armies. All right, let's go through a little bit more before we kind of set them off. But again, I like the front line of goblins. It causes a little bit of subterfuge, allows you to really kind of trick your opponent. If we all know Gobble King, he's very good with the goblin army. You also have a Wurzog, which is, I'd say, probably the most competitive choice for the Greenskins. Effigy of Daggett. I hate doing... I'm trying to, like, navigate to this without... There we go. I'll go over here. So, Effigy of Daggett is basically the same thing as Prayer of Nathrama in the sense that it locks things down, but it also does damage to them. Rather than having missile resistance, it does damage at the same time. So, you lock something down, you have your Goblin firing line firing on it. Wolfric the Wanderer is going to be in a world of hurt if this triggers on him in conjunction with the Goblin firing line. Now, he's used Nasty Skulkers as well. These guys, of course, have stock. They're hard to find. You can't really see them until they really get up close and personal. And they have AP damage. They're a very cheap, effective AP damage and a really great way to hold down a backline. I really enjoy them, and they're going to be a really great way to keep this kind of lockdown back here. We have two Orc Big Gun units here. These guys have anti-large, so we'll be able to really deal with any kind of cab charges, anything of the sort. Because they just kind of look at these guys, man. I hate Greenskins, but these guys will do. Now, and also in two flanks of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And then again, a Goblin Big Boss and another Goblin Big Boss. So a lot of interesting choices here, as well as the Ragnarok Spider. Ragnarok Spider is going to be causing terror, which is great for a Norscan front line. Speaking of the Norscan front line, oh, Marauders with great weapons. So Professor Pone's planning on a lot of anti-large here. Now, this is probably not going to be the best, but what he's doing is... Sorry, that didn't mean to be so wild. What he's doing is he's having these Marauder great weapons that are basically screen the charge of the Mistwalkers and of the Familiar with great weapons. He's planning on more large creatures and a Black Orc front line. As you can see, Marauders with great weapons have AP, and he's expecting a Black Orc front line, and he's going to be sorely mistaken here when there are absolutely no Black Orcs in Janet's armies at all. He does have a nice Bruiser of the Hound. Bruiser of the Hound here are a great regiment of renown. They're basically your standard edition Berserkers here. They have Berserk here and all sorts of great goodies. They have their Lovely Frenzy. They have their Unbreakable, so they're going to be staying in their combat for a long time. And then the Soul Crusher War Mammoth, which I think is the first time I've seen it since they brought it back. It being Norsca. Oh, yes. Just look at this. Just battle melee kicking off. Wah going off the line. Map-wide Wah now, so that is going to be triggering for the entire army. And then you have the Goblin Fire Line already ripping into these Famir. And look at this. Oh, see, this is the Goblin Fire Line. This is the Goblin Fire Line in full effect. But with all the terror-causing units here, you're going to be able to rout the Goblins so quickly. Oh, we have Wulfric's little lovely ship ripping through here, the Sea Fang, or whatever it's called again. I can't remember off the top of my head. Effigy of the Git triggered on Wulfric the Wanderer. Now let's see if he can get, if Janet can get his Goblin Fire Line on Wulfric to stop him from charging through the Rusty Airs. That is going to be a really hard thing right here, because if the Rusty Airs can't get on him to bring him down quick enough, they're going to be in a real bad shape, as the Marauders have already hit their back line, and they're starting to eat up these Goblin Archers. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Looks like we lost connection for a quick second. Alright, I'm back. Whew, that was weird. It just said, hey, this site doesn't work anymore, so. Alright. But Goblin Firing Line was able to move back a little bit. We started to get some shots here on Wulfric. His smoke bomb, or the smoke bomb, has been triggered on him from the Goblin Big Boss, so he's going to be significantly low in speed. His charge speed is going to be slowed, so hopefully they can get enough shots on him. His health, or I'm sorry, his leadership is already at a really, really, really bad point right now. So, his leadership's coming back here as more and more kind of comes to his aid. Oh man, this is a no-holds-barred shit show again. The Ragnarok Spider here is fending off all of these Marauders with Spearmen, but you do still have the Soul Crusher, which is squaring off against these big guns, which is a great target here. But look at this just battle melee in the center here. Wulfric has now fled. He's broken. His leadership is at just a terrible point. His health's really low. The Goblin Fire Line might just actually get this off. Gobbo King. Janet is the Greenskins, and Professor Pone is the Norskins. Later, Arthur Daphos. Have a good one, man. Thanks for joining us. So the Goblin Fire Line got its job done, right? I mean, you can see that Wulfric is going to get killed off by this Goblin Big Boss in what looked like a very one-sided fight at the very initial fight, or get-go. It started to really shift the balance here. But we do still have another Soul Crusher to deal with, a pretty full health Ragnarok Spider, and I think that Janet here is going to pull this win out. The balance power is definitely in his favor. That as soon as this Soul Crusher goes down, it's going to be bad news bears for the, or bad news Greenskins for these Norskins here. Thank you. Gobble King, he brought 2 mammoths. Oh, Effigy of the Git kicking off here. Oh, and here it is. Here's the 1-2 punch. You've got the Effigy kicking off. You've got the entire Goblin Firing Line on it. It's been completely routed off the table, and boom. We have a win for Janet on occasion. Woo! That's wild. That was wild. Man. So let's take a look here. We got 42 kills from the Brutes of the Hound, a lovely 76 and 79 from your Famir, but 121 from the Soul Crusher and 48 from Wulfric himself. But they really just couldn't stand up to the dreaded Goblin Firing Line, the Effigy of Git, and the Nasty Stalkers, which were able to really hold things back while the archers were moving back. And that's a big more of a advanced strategy, I guess you could say. It shouldn't be an advanced strategy, but I know me, for example, if my backline's compromised, I'm like, oh, what do I do? But the best way to deal with that is stay calm, get your archers to just move back a little bit and get something to tie down that unit that's infiltrated your back line. By doing that, and by Janet having kind of maintaining his calm and pushing things back, he was able to get his Goblin Firing Line back online to bring Wulfric down and then bring the Soul Crusher down. Really, really great play there. The Orc Biggins really did their job 37, 98, and 65, killing tons and tons of units here. So, whew, that was a good final match to this series. So now we have Gojira and Dov plays that are going to square off next. Let's take a little break here and get them all ready for the next game. I got to jump into their match. I got to swap out our banners, all sorts of stuff like that. I think we'll be doing some little post-game interviews here. So let's go into Discord and grab them. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Break me off a second of that second. All right, here we go. We're live. Gen on occasion. Pro player Gen on occasion.
I feel like I got abducted.
You did. I pulled you into whatever channel I wanted to. And Professor Prone.
Rude.
Guys, I went best of 3, and I went to all 3 matches. Janet.
Well, we gotta give the people what they want, you know.
Which is a brutal cockfight, and I loved every minute of it. So what were your thoughts going into that fight, Professor Pona? Because it looked like you were looking to be stacking against more Black Orcs and were clearly on the table.
Yeah, I thought he would have Black Orcs and Mammoth OP.
But none of those. It was hilarious. Like, Pone, before we started the match, he said, "Oh, let's have a look at the army counts. Oh, I am massively outnumbered. You do not have Black Orcs. Oh God."
I said you have more than a landslide.
Man, I don't know. I really enjoyed the use of both those mammoths. Like, what I liked about all three matches is you guys took unconventional builds and really fun builds. Like, I don't think I've seen like the double Exalted Hero and then Chaos Lord or Chaos Sorcerer Lord on a dragon since like Total War Warhammer 1.
Oh yeah, I was not expecting that. That was tough.
The Goon Squad.
I'm surprised I won that. Genuinely, I was expecting like a slow plodding front line that I could just chew through with bullets, but no. Then all these flyers came out of nowhere. It was terrifying.
It was still beautiful nonetheless. Well,
oh, it's gorgeous.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Professor Pone, well played. Janet, you move on to the next round.
Oh, good for me.
I can't beat a pro player, Janet.
I mean, I kind of stacked it against you.
Regular Janet, I would have been okay.
I stacked it against you. I said, you know what? Professor Pone doesn't stand a chance against this guy, this professional player who has his jersey framed and keeps it up in his room.
It's Janet on occasion, or it's pro player Janet on occasion. That's the other part of the on occasion.
It is.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us here. We'll jump on over to Gojira and Dov plays after a really quick 2-minute, 3-minute intermission while I kind of set up the next scoreboard. But thanks again to Janet and Professor Pone. Go and check out their channels. Professor Pone has some of the best music playlists you could ever want to watch. Janet specializes a lot in campaign as well as really kind of, not thematic, but I guess you could say overly cinematic. What's that thing called? Intermission. I got to set up the next thing real quick. I got to do some really quick Photoshop magic, so I'm going to throw up a quick little splash screen. Stay with us. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. I'm just going to play one song real quick to kind of make that get going. I press the button. There's that button. There you go. Okay, we are back. Put that one on hold. That'll be our next intermission song. You gotta make sure the right one is up. Gojira and Dov. It should say Gojira and Dov. It says Gojira and Dov. Alright. So we now have Gojira and Dov plays squaring off. Looks like it's Skaven versus Empire to get us going. When you're ready. Now, some cool things we learned while in the Creative Assembly, like home office, is that the Skaven actually have some of the lowest win rate, which actually surprised Turin and I, who both agree that Skaven actually are pretty high in the power curve as far as like competitive races. But the biggest thing, I guess, is that like it's obviously sampled across the entire spectrum, only this patch, and a number of other variables that kind of make a little bit more sense. So, checking for cats. So it does kind of, I guess, speak to the state of Skaven and Lizardmen in the game, because Lizardmen also have a very low win rate. As always, guys, just a reminder, we are coming up to our next best of 3 here. Janet, on occasion, won the previous one. For some reason, you can't go back on DVR. I apologize for that. I don't know why. But 25% of all of the donations go towards the winner. The only donation right now is $10. So $2.50 will be going to the winner of this tournament. Love your content. James, thank you very much, man. Yeah, they actually have a pretty low win rate. DVR. So DVR is basically the ability to stream back is to scrub backwards in the stream. For some reason, that is just not there. I for some reason didn't click it. I don't know why. But that will be in. You can actually watch I'll put the replay of this as soon as it processes back up. Running with Outdoor for Outskirts again, a staple of any competitive multiplayer tournament. Oh, I gotta wait until they load in before I can zoom. It is also because I have high micro. It's also because their units aren't like cut and dry rock, paper, scissors, as a lot of the other ones are. We went with for the best of 5 for the finals match, actually. So Janet versus whoever wins this match, or this round, I guess, or this match. We chose 5 pretty interesting maps too, so those will be pretty fun. It's coming at the beginning of 2019, so that's not a year from now, Disciple. That's in 5 months, so not too far away. All right, so let's take a look at Dov Plays Army. Whew, whew, he went down and dirty. So just a ton of Free Company Militia here. Cool thing about Free Company Militia is that if you're fighting against a lot of Storm Vermin, these guys can be kind of nice because they do have a pretty good AP damage. Not the best, of course, not compared to handgunners, but they also are really great combatants, so they can fight against any kind of clan rats that you summon in the back line, anything of the sort. They're really able to lock down a lot of the backline charging mechanics of the Skaven, which is the ability to summon rats wherever the hell they want. So we also take a look at the other portions of Dov Plays Army. He went with a lot of cabs. So he has Outriders with grenade launchers, Pistoliers, more grenade launchers. Oh, that's more Pistoliers. Some Empire Knights, and a fan favorite, the Panzer itself, the Steam Tank. So we do have a Steam Tank in Dov Plays Army. He also is using a, where is it? Aha. Balthazar Gelt himself, the Masked Man. So some more Final Transmutation is going to be... Oh, yeah, Final Transmutation is on him, as well as the Stave of Volans to really help out with that replenishment of Winds of Magic quickly. So this should be a very interesting fight. He does have a cannon to hopefully knock out any of the larger batteries that are of artillery that we might see with the Skaven as we go and take a look at them. So this is a very interesting army here. It'll be very interesting. He's got a lot of cav that's going to be going across the board. A lot of Vanguard units, a lot of Free Company Militia, versus, Goju went with a lot of Plague Monks. So that'll be a really fun kind of counter to that, because they are anti-infantry. They do quite a bit of damage here. They're not dealing with any armored infantry for the most part, so the Plague Monks are really going to shine, but they will not shine against all of the range damage from the Pistoliers. 10 armor, they're going to get cut up pretty hard, so he does have to worry about that. But he does have Pinioning on both sides of the line, Stormvermin with Halberds. These guys are going to be really great against those Empire Knights because they are armored, they do have anti-large, they do have AP, so it's going to be a pretty good option for them to hold down the line. Now, I always choose 2 units of Rat Ogres whenever I choose Skaven. I don't have a great win rate with Skaven, but I do that. Because NDA. What? So, 2 units of Rat Ogres are really going to help countercharge as well. They do have AP here, so they can knock around a lot of the cav charges from the Empire, so he does kind of have that mechanic built into those as well. A lot of Skaven slave slingers, so expect a lot of firepower coming out from them as far as quantity, but not so much as quality, in the sense that they cannot do a ton of damage per hit, but there's going to be so much, and it's just very much the same way that Goblin Archers are effective. It's such a high volume of output of damage that it ends up being a lot over time. Lord Skrulk here. Abil, thank you very much, man. $10 or 10 euros? Pounds. Frankenfurters. 10 for the prize pool. We have Lord Skrulk, which is, in my opinion, the best choice for the Skaven right now. He's really good because he has basically 2 ways to just really shut things down. Take a look right there. The Liber Bubonicus, which is just going to do a ton of damage on top of things. He's got the Rod of Corruption, so he's going to be doing damage around him and then singled out to one target. And you have a great Warlock Engineer. Kind of looks like Ikaclaw, but it's not. I wish it was. The Warlock Engineer I really like because he does have Howling Warp Gale, so he can shut down any kind of flying unit, but in this case it's not going to be as effective. Balthazar Gelt can get locked down with this, which is kind of good. But the nice thing, though, is that he has Warp Lightning, and Warp Lightning can be used so often, especially when you get a lot of really great blobs. Alright, get them to begin the fight. And then you have 2 batteries of Warp Lightning cannons, and these are going to be great. Check. I don't know why that happens. Only happens when I stream. I can't for the life of me figure out what's going on. Alright, so the Warp Lightning Cannon is doing a really good job of initially fending off those Pistoliers. It's kind of keeping them pushed back a little bit because there's... Oh, just skims over the top of that steam tank. Just buzzes the tower. But those Pistoliers would have done a lot of initial damage to all of those Plague Monks. But that steam tank, it is, I think it's just over the hill enough that it's gonna... Oh, again, buzzing the tower. Hitting into these Skaven Spearmen. So it is still able to shoot over the hill, I think. We'll see what happens. The slowest shooting thing in the damn game, it feels like. These Pistoliers are going to do a lot of initial damage to these Plague Monks. They have quite a bit of damage they can do. Howling Warp Gale, like we were talking about, locking down Gelt. Gelt's in a bad position now. If all those Warp Lightning cannons focus on him, you have all the Skaven Slave Slingers. See? This is what I was talking about. Not a lot of damage, but enough that over time it starts to whittle away. The cannon is starting to shut down these Warp Lightning cannons, which is really, really awesome. The cannon, I believe, has a further range. These have a stunning range of 430. Oh, God, look at him. My cocaine nose. See what I mean? Skaven Slaves just ripping up enough damage on Gelt. This is really, really bad for dot plays as the first initial play here. Oh, just missed. Juked out both of those. The cannons, though, as you can see, if they get on target, they're going to rip up. One shot, I think, takes out one whole cannon itself. Oh, just barely missing Gelt there. So, it's 430 versus... Yeah, you can see how far back this thing is. 450, so they outrange it so they can actually shoot and destroy those Warp Lightning cannons just by having one. So Dava's in a very precarious situation, right? He has his whole line back there. He's yet to engage, and Balthazar Gelt is already almost completely fled off the table. The Warp Lightning Cannons are starting to really pick apart the Pistoliers, so Dav has to make a play to get forward quickly here. And unfortunately, he doesn't really have a lot of units that are meant to stay in prolonged engagements. I think he was hoping for his Pistoliers and Grenade Launchers to do a significant amount of initial damage before sweeping up with the Empire Knights. Uh-oh, the dreaded steam tank does muffle forth. Cannons starting to rip through. They've chosen a new target now. Choosing the Clan Rats and the Storm Vermin probably more likely, because they're a little bit harder of a counter to that steam tank. Skaven Slave Slingers ripping up a little bit into these Pistoliers. Really not a good position here for Dav. He's got an army that is that the strengths of its army have been taken out very early. These Empire... Heyo, what just happened? Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. There it is, back online. That's weird. Remember, kids, don't overclock your processor because that happens. Man, I just watched it on stream what happened. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so we do have to get an engagement going here. Oh! Cannonballs ripping into your Rat Ogres. Dav went with a fan favorite. And what's funny is, I know for a fact, he absolutely hates the steam tank. But they are trying to draw them into the fire. Dav is using his superior range, try to get some sort of advantage back here. Trying to pull things out of the range of what's left of the... Oh no, only one Warp Lightning Cannon is left. Uh-oh, a charge into these Skaven Slaves. Gonna send them flying from the Empire Knights. Woo! But a countercharge with a Storm Vermin, that is not going to be good for these Empire Knights if they stay in prolonged combat. Rat Ogres coming in here too. Just to belly flop into the Empire. Lord Skrulk and the... Oh! Thank you very much, James, for the €2. That's a euro, right? Donation. Handgunners, though, starting to shoot those Rat Ogres, knocking them out pretty heavily. Lord Skrulk is in bad shape, too, though, so he does have to worry a little bit here. A lot of corruption kicking off. Priest of Sigmar trying to jump in, trying to hold that line with those all the great buffs that they can do. Oh, man, these Plague Monks are going to eat up this Free Company Militia. They will be able to hold out the line a little bit more. The Grenade Launcher's trying to rip through the back line. Oh, man, those guys went from, like, full health and full life to pretty much just nothing, fleeing as fast as I can from those grenade launchers. Skrulk is in a pretty precarious situation. If that Warrior Priest can get on him, that can get a lot more damage onto Skrulk, it will pretty much eat up the leadership of the Skaven front line. Uh-oh. Got Skrulk's corruption ability kind of ripping through some of these Free Company militias. He jumps into the fray here. Man, look at this ravening pack of Skaven here. Yes, yes! Kill, kill! Free Company militia looking to screen that charge. Let's get a look at the battlefield here. We can see that the Empire Knights are trying to mop up a lot of this backline, put out these Warp Lightning Cannon crews entirely, kill off the Skaven Slave Slingers, do whatever they can to assist their Empire bros in the front. We got a full unit of Spearmen coming up to try and relieve some of the beleaguered forces here. Warp Lightning, where's it kicking off? Right into these Free Company militia. Ooh! Doing a ton of damage, almost a full quarter of their health knocked out right there. Nice, you have the Spearmen supporting their Warrior Priest, which is a really good shot here because you've got Free Company militia shooting into these Storm Vermin with halberds. You've got what's left of these Plague Monks chasing off this Great Cannon. But I think that Dav is starting to regain a little bit of cohesion because he still has a pretty much a full health steam tank. If he can get that steam tank in combat and knock out one or two of these big guys here, he's in really good shape. I think we can have some Plague Monks summoned up here by Skrulk. Or not. Like I said, there it is. Warlock Engineer pretty much getting ready to rat off the table. Spearmen into these Free Company militia. Oh yeah, look at that. Yes, yes, yes! Eat, eat! We losing. Must run. Run, run, run. Off they go. Free Company Militia just mopping up some stuff right here. Man, this has been a pretty wild fight. It looked like Dov wasn't going to pull this off initially, but I think he's starting to really come back here. He still has his full unit of Spearmen. He's got a full health Warrior Priest. Pretty good both ammunition and health Free Company Militia. Another one that's been firing off the entire time onto Skrull. So things are in pretty good shape here. This one unit of... Uh-oh. Where is it? Aha! Again, another quarter health into these guys. That Warp Lightning is so strong because you can cast it so many times. I think it's like, what, 5 or 6 Winds of Magic to cost? Or it costs, I think, 5 or 6. This will tell us. Yeah, allow me to fuck up looking at it. Yeah, just a bunch of times. Screw it, right? Yeah, well, it costs 5 or 6, something like that. But you do have this pretty terrifying unit of Stormvermin with Halberds. Not a lot of AP is left in the army. And you don't want that Steam Tank engaging with them. It's not going to be very good. You have the 1-2 punch here of the Steam Tank and the Warrior Priest jumping onto Lord Skrull here. Ragdolled everywhere. And I think that the Warrior Priest is going to stay on him. One final shot from that Steam Tank should put it out of its misery. Oh, just missed it. It went from... I don't know, it's getting pretty crazy here. Went from the balance of power having been shifted heavily in Gojira's favor over now to Dov plays. Dov plays, of course, on the Empire, Gojira on the Skaven. It's been a pretty vicious first match, just like our very first game. Yeah, games and matches. But you got grenade launchers still ripping through these Stormvermin halberds, which is a really good choice here. As you can see, they do cause a... That caused a little bit of panic. I thought they did at least, but I'm completely wrong. And then a rear charge of Empire Knights into these guys. This should be the nail in the coffin right here, guys. This should be the Empire Knight in the coffin. Oh, we don't get that charge. Damn. You're right, Dov is Empire. Every time I look away. Sorry, Gabo. I last minute threw up the scoreboard. I couldn't do anything to show like what their factions were. So that was a pretty interesting match, you know. In the very beginning, we had Balthazar Gelt. Even though he got 32 kills through his magic, he didn't really get a chance to come to the fore. He was killed quite quickly, and because of that, you have an Empire line that really had no choice but to really turtle up. And I think Dov played a very, very long play, but a very good play here, in that he used all of his superior mobility in the Outriders with Grenadiers, the Reichsguard, his Empire Knights, to get into the back line, to do as many counter charges as he could, to really try and hold down the heavier portions of the Skaven military. And he had that Steam Tank, the champion of the people. Dov plays with his Steam Tank that I know he hates so much. Now, only 30 kills in this Great Cannon, but you have to remember, it outranges by 20 all of these Warp Lightning Cannons. Almost every time it hit, it knocked out a Warp Lightning Cannon. So all 6 were knocked out within the first... Well, I think it was 5 of the 6 were knocked out in the first minute to minute and a half of play. So really great counter choice there, because it only took 1 to counter 2 of these Warp Lightning Cannons. So really great choice there. For Gojira, though, I really like the inclusion of Plague Monks. You can see that they did end up getting mucked up very hard by a lot of the range, especially those Grenadiers and the Free Company Militia. They took out, it might have been this one, almost immediately when they got even close to them. So that is the kind of double-edged sword you run with Plague Monks. Plague Monks can do a lot of damage to the base frontline units of the Empire, but a really great choice nonetheless. So that's our first game. Let's jump on over to the next one. So I think now we have, I don't know what the conversion rate for euros is. We have 22 total space bucks. 25% of the wins, of course, do go towards the winner of this competition. So if there's anyone you're rooting for, do donate towards that person or whatever you want to see. The finals are a best of 5. So heads up! I'm sweating profusely. Warhammer lore videos are amazing. Well, thank you very much, Matthias. Tor deserves so many more subs. Oh, Tor? Who's Tor? Like Thor? Much love from Denmark. Got to go to bed. Just had to let you know. Well, thank you very much for jumping in here, man. Oh, like the back of my legs are sweaty because I'm in like a DX racer like an idiot. Oh. Get off your shirt if you're sweating so much. Cat and Echo, put it down. Put it away, bro. One stream, Cat and Echo, I'm going to be wearing 2 tank tops. I'll take one of them off. We need we need some more likes on the video chat. Wait, whoa. What's our like to view ratio right now, Prof P? Dude, it's hot as shit right now. What is it outside? It's not that hot. It's only 85. We've seen worse. As export all Goji and Dov, yes, there it is. Okay, so our scoreboard should have updated. Yep, round 2, there it is. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You see a few more people who could be liking here. Oh, come on. We need 74 more likes, 75 more likes, guys. Or I'm bad at math. 69. Oh, we need 69 more likes. Get it? Because when a man and a woman meet each other, it's 69. That's sign language for 69. And for those of you with the dirty mind, 69 is when you popcorn read with your head at their feet. You're just reading from the Bible. There's no, like, sex going on. Alright, guys, thumb me hard. Get them thumbs ready. Okay. Fix the chair on this thing. There we go. Yeah, see everything okay? Webcam look good. We need to focus it more on stuff. I got a fucking like nice mic or a nice headset, but it's wired. Okay, so we have Greenskins versus Lizardmen. Our first showing of Lizardmen today, so let's take a look at them. I'll wait until Gojira, of course, is Lizardmen, and we have Dov playing the Greenskins. We'll wait until they line up a little bit, and we'll go into their respective units. We'll start off, of course, though, with Goji. Goji's playing Lord Mazdamundi here with his lovely Zlok. One of my favorite models in the game, even though, I mean, look at this guy. For $5, you can get 3 large pizzas when you order from Mazdamundi Doughs. So, go to Pizza the Hut whenever you can. Where's the cat at, Sparty? Not back there, that's for fucking sure. Creature of the night. So, great thing about Lord Mazdamundi here, he has a lot of really good abilities. Especially on Zlok, he's got a little Hadab, so he does poison range damage. He has anti-infantry and AP because he's on a... I'm just going to say Triceratops because I can't think of their names right now. A Triceratops, but he does have a bound banishment, meaning that he doesn't have to use... he doesn't have to choose from his lore to do it. He has a combined lore, though, of high and light. So he has access to Net of Amatak here. He's got a Curse of the Midnight Wind and Apotheosis. And he also has his Shield of the Old Ones, which gives him a significant boost to his magic resistance. This can really help against maybe even a Foot of Gork, anything else that can kick off across the line. And of course, there's a deadly Ruination of Cities, which rips through your randomly rips through everything and does quite a bit of damage. Now, Goji went with... What did I press? The wrong button. That's what I pressed. Cold One Riders. Now, Cold One Riders here, he went with a significant amount, as well as Horned Ones? Oh, no, those are Cold Ones. Sorry, it looked like Horned Ones. Now, the Cold One Riders with Spears, you can see, are anti-large and AP. These 3 do not have Spears. They're just your AP Perpetual Combat variant. So they're meant to charge in, get up close and personal, and do a lot of damage. Now, the one person actually mentioned, Josh Samuel said he's expensive as fuck. It's true. Mazdamundi on Zlok is, I think, 2,600 points, so he is kind of a risky pick sometimes. But it looks like Goji went narrow frontline-wise with Saurus Warriors with shields, trying to combat any kind of goblin firing line action, and wide with Cav. He also went with some Skink cohorts here on both flanks. Now, Skink cohorts, more often than not, you want to choose Skink with javelins because they're the exact same unit. You just get the ability to throw javelins. So that's kind of nice. But the skink cohorts here, they're very fast. They can get into back lines. They can harass things. You can have them flank out when you go to engage. So you have a lot of really good flexibility with skink cohorts. So this should be a pretty interesting fight, as he does also have some skink skirmishers that have their little blowguns, as well as chameleon skinks. Now, chameleon skinks are great because they have poison ranged attacks. They have the ability to kite most anything that they shoot, except for, of course, very, very fast attack cav. Check, check, check. Okay, Mike sometimes doesn't work when I jump into games, so I wanted to check that. Oh, man. Dov went so dirty. Full Vanguard army here, almost. Almost. With some Night Goblin archers, and archers. That's quite the Goblin firing line. He's got 4 units of archers, including the Rusty Airs. We've already seen these guys before, but again, Rusty Airs do have that center armor, minus 30 to armor. They can take out heavily armored units that the Lizardmen most typically have. Now, he went with Nasty Skulkers, which are a really great choice against Lizardmen because they have AP. They're very low cost units, so they can do quite a bit of damage. They're very effective on a trading points value. Now, you have Night Goblins here as well, more across the line. So definitely a huge Night Goblin presence here. You got the lovely Mangy Marauders, and then Starsnake. Just a Goblin Great Shaman. So this should be a great fight. If you guys can't tell, I don't spend as much time talking about Greenskins because I just don't know them that well. That's just like my biggest Achilles heel as like a I guess tournament commentator. I just don't know them very well. Also, it does have squigs, which have AP and anti-infantry, so they can eat up Saurus very, very well, very, very effectively. So a lot of really tricksy tricks actions going on over here, right? But they are placed on the opposite ends of the field, so this will be very, very interesting to see how it goes down. They're both like, shit. What direction do I go? Mangy Marauders trying to get some initial kind of shots into these chameleon skinks. They will be able to slow down all of this cav, so they want to try and get rid of them as fast as possible. But as you can see, their range is pretty significant as they start trading into each other. I believe the Mangy Marauders will trade somewhat even with the chameleon skinks. I don't know off the top of my head, to be totally honest. Hey, what's up, Jacob? But an interesting engagement here is causing Dob to kind of shift his entire army, which was a Vanguard kind of like shock value, and now kind of being a little bit more defensive. As you can see here in the map, it is starting to shift from what was this way to now this way to kind of face that Lizardman charge. Both armies kind of squaring up here. You have the squigs coming in, trying to get some initial delaying tactics going onto these Lizardmen. If they make contact with that Saurus front line, they will be able to do quite a bit of damage, especially if the other squigs are wheeling in. But we do have a charge over here by the cavalry onto these squigs that were idle. It looks like Goji took advantage of what seemed like maybe a lack of micro or whatever happened here, but they're able to catch Dov out a little bit and capture and destroy both these units of squigs with little damage done to the Coldman Riders at all, as this other one goes right for these nasty skulkers, trying to chase them off the board. The map-wide wall has triggered. We have Net of Amatok triggering on these squig hoppers, which is locking them down, allowing the chameleon skinks to move out of range and get more and more damage into these guys, while also poisoning them. So it's going to significantly lower their speed so they cannot get away. Man, look at that. The squigs were just shut down so fast. But they still get away and manage to jump onto these chameleon skinks, but they're pretty low in health. Just punting them all over the place. Take a look at this charge here. Night Goblin jumping in, Zlok jumping in. Now Zlok is going to do a ton of damage here. He's not opposed by much aside from the Goblin firing line. As you can see, it's starting to oh, look at it! Goblin firing line is going at Goji right now. And they don't have any opposition. Nothing's threatening to shut them down just yet. Those Coldwind Spear Riders will start to come towards them, but for now, they're going to be able to get as much damage as they can under Lord Mazdamundi. They don't have effigy to get to slow them down or lock down Zlok, so he's going to have to use these Mangy Marauders to try and slow them down as much as he can. Gork will fix it to reduce their speed as much as possible. Try to keep these... Oh, Night Goblin Archers getting swarmed over by Saurus Warriors. About to get a massive charge in here as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dinosaurs into long-nosed goblins. Thank you very much, Crazy C4. You look at it. Look at them eat them. They hunger in the night. Back to your foul mountains, goblins! things are getting pretty dicey up in here again. We had a pretty initial interesting deployment that has gotten pretty hot and heavy for Goji's choice to go long with his cab. It has proved pretty effective as he shut down what is really one of the biggest threats from the Goblin army, which is that gigantic amount of Goblin firepower. Yeah, I'm waiting for that Ruination of Cities. It might have already gone off, Josh. I might have missed it. We do have this Goblin Great Shaman just sitting there. Uh-oh. What is this? Ah, another Gorkle Fix-It, trying to slow down that speed, trying to get the Goblin Great Shaman out of it. Got those goblins back online, trying to get some damage out, anything they can right now. Zlok is... Look at Zlok. He's just... I give no shits. I said $5 footlongs are crap. You will eat my pizza. He's just charging down range. So this looks like it might start to shift in the favor of Goji. If this firing line stays online and this Goblin Great Shaman doesn't get shut down, this could be a little bit more dangerous as... Ooh! As you can see, the... Uh-oh. Where'd that net kick off? Oh, getting that medic resistance in as he goes in for the kill. Charging through all those Goblin Archers. Man, look at that. Let's just kind of take a look at the top here. We still have those Goblin... I think these are Rusty Air. Yeah, the Rusty Airs are still firing on Lords Mazdamundi, but they are so heavily on the Goblin Great Shaman that they might be able to knock it out here with the Cold Wind Riders on them as well. I think that this might be a pretty foregone conclusion. It's pretty dangerous here because the majority of the fighting force of the Lizardmen is pretty much done with. The Nasty Skulkers have done their job, and they've been able to knock out a good deal of the Asaris warriors. Uh-oh. This Feral Bastillodon is coming in here, trying to show these Nasty Skulkers who's boss. Locke is pretty slow, though. He does have Cold Blood on him, so he's going to be moving a lot slower. His melee defense is down, so that's okay, because there's nothing that's going to contest him from a melee standpoint. So he's going to get a little healing done with this. He probably doesn't have much Winds of Magic. I haven't been seeing many Apotheosises. I've only seen one net going off. So I'm wondering where that Ruination is, or even that Banishment is. Banishment right here could just... It could eat up his units, but it could knock out those Rusty Airs. That'd be pretty nice. Got the Goblin Great Shaman coming back in the very back there. But I think for the most part, things are in tatters. Yeah, these Nasty Skulkers are down with. Yeah, so it looks like Goji probably has this one in the bag. What is the big thing that's anchoring their balanced power? I think it's just a Goblin Great Shaman. Slock is eating his way through goblins like a grocery bag. Goblin firing line still online, though, and it's still a pretty furious thing here. Oh! Uh-oh, Ruination? See how it goes. Oh, yeah. Did amazingly. It could have gone way worse, but did a lot of really good damage here. Thank you very much, James. I appreciate it, man. 10 euros from James. That goes towards the total pool. 25% of the donations after YouTube takes out its taxes and all that garbage does go towards the winners here today. I think we got a net of Amatok triggering on these Night Goblins, knocking out what is left of the Goblin firing line. What really needs to happen here is getting this Goblin Great Shaman down. As soon as that happens, pretty much the entire line will crumble, and we'll have a victory here for Goji. But Dava's holding on for dear life. He's trying to get any kind of victory he can off. If he takes out Mazdamundi, he will take out a huge portion of what's left of the fighting force of the Lizardmen. So he's going for the throat here. Yeah, that could be pounds, it could be euros. I don't know what's going on anymore. Who's Brexiting who these days? Is Greece trying to Brexit? I don't even know what the fuck's going on. Uh-oh. You look at that thing. Trudging through the night. There's a point where no foot is on the ground as he runs. Hey, look at that. No feet. No feet. Great vertical. Great vertical on that Stegodon as it chases down everything. He's going for the toad, not the throat. I like that, Jacob. And then some last-minute Skaven skirmishers here, but the Mangy Marauders will punch through them pretty hard, but they don't have enough staying power to really kind of hold the line. As Dov is unfortunately trampled over by the mighty Stegodon, and it looks like Goji pulls this series out 2-0. Man. So it looks like we're going to have Janet and Goji in the finals here. That's going to be a best of 5. It'll probably be another 30 minutes, so if you guys need to get a drink or anything like that, do get ready to do that here soon. We're going to do a little post-battle interview. We'll talk to Goj and Dov and see what they have to say about their armies, and see what their opinions are. So let's take a look here. It's 1-1? Wait, what? Oops. I thought Goji won that last one. Let me take a look at my thing. Oh, guys, it's 1-1. So, remember when I said we're done? We're not. We got another one. So, let's take a look at our fights. Oops. It's okay. I can say these things because it's my stream. All right, so it is 1-1 then. Dov versus Goji. I forgot Dov was playing the Empire last time. I thought it was Goji for some reason. So Gojira got quite a few kills with the lovely Mazdamundi here. Zlok was able to pounce on a lot of the armored infantry of Great Tournament. Pretty good matches so far. Well, Fez, thank you very much, man. Again, guys, as always, 25% of those donations go towards the winner, so let them pile in if you so wish. But the Cold One Riders were really Goji's biggest thing here. They were able to get in the back line. They were able to shut down those squigs very early in the initial engagement. They were able to jump on the Goblin firing line from a rear charge standpoint. So the VIPs of Goji's army were these Cold One Riders. Now, we talked about the Nasty Skulkers and what they can do to Lizardmen. And look at this, 70, 50, 89, 57. They were buffed up by Dov to do quite a bit more damage, being rank 5. But still, that is not a bad thing at all. They were able to really get the job done. And even these, the Night Goblin Fanatics were able to rip a ton of damage by sending out the little Goblin Fanatic dudes, bulldozing through the Lizardman line. Let's get ready for our tiebreaker here. 1-1, Goji and Dov. They're now Chaos versus Vampire counts. Let's update the scoreboard, Bob. It's like you'd think I've run a tournament with much larger viewer base before. I swear to God. I've never done this. Goji and Dov. Yes, place it. That should update that. Yeah, there you go. Round 3, tiebreaker, 1-1, Goji and Dov. You may fire when ready. Man, this has been a pretty vicious one. So this is, every single one of these has gone to its 3rd subsequent match. Oh, dude, Fez Walker, have you not heard me talk about The Burning Shore? The Burning Shore is my favorite, if not the only book I really like about Lustria. So The Burning Shore, for those of you guys who don't know, professional esports commentary with plenty of errors, just for you, Whiskey Jack. For those of you who don't know, The Burning Shore is a book about a thief. I think he was a thief. I read it so many years ago. Stows away on an Empire ship to the New World, to Lustria. And he gets basically caught up in this treasure expedition to this temple city. And the whole time, it does a really good job of kind of setting up this Amazonian, very musty jungle feel of Lustria. And the whole time, they're like beset by skinks and lizardmen. And does a really great way of talking about reading, fucking nerd. Does a really good way of talking about, Florin. Yeah, Florin's the name of the thief. It is a really good way of talking about the Lizardmen and how they basically just kind of like wait there. How they just kind of, they use their natural camouflage of them being, beasts in the wild and just watch. It's really, 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 really scary and eerie. And you find out that there's like a high elf with the group, and the high elf with the group is someone really important. I don't want to spoil it for those of you guys watch or that are reading it or plan to read it. It's probably my favorite series that does pertain to the to Lustria. It's really good. Crazy C4, yes. Pro player Janet won the last match. So it's going to be Janet versus either Gojira or Dov. Book series name, please. I have zero idea about the lore. Recommend start. What's your favorite... Josh, what's your favorite race? Alright. Chaos versus those vampire counts. Your favorite race is High Elves? Then you should read The Sundering. They now sell it as an omnibus, which is 3 books all put together. That will chronicle the High Elves splitting into the Dark Elves and Wood Elves, basically. You can also read War of Vengeance, which is the High Elves' grand war with the Dwarfs, also known as the War of the Beard. But The Sundering is a good place to start, because it will talk about the early history of the High Elves, the early history of the world itself, and set up what we have now in Total War Warhammer, or the Warhammer world as a whole. How long is Burning Shores? 350 pages, I think. There we go. Alright guys, make sure you're smashing that like button. Let's get those likes up here to get more folk involved in this grand tournament. We are at the final match of our semifinals before kicking into our finals, in which case the winner of this match will go on to play Janet on occasion, pro player Janet on occasion, in a best of 5. So we have Dov playing as the Vampire Counts versus Gojira playing as the Warriors of Chaos. Let's take a look at what we've got here, right? Gojira has lost. So Dov went with the Red Duke and... Is there not a third Terrorgeist? 2, or just 2 total. So Red Duke and another Terrorgeist here, which is a very, very common competitive build. He has a nice, strong front little chaff line of zombies to eat up any kind of BS or control charges. A lot of skeleton spearmen down the line here, followed by 2 units of Blood Knights? 2 units of Blood Knights, and a great Mortis Engine. Now the Mortis Engine is lovely because as it maintains combat... God, I cannot get this thing there. It does have the Reliquary Corruption, which does damage to things around it, as well as the Reliquary Binding, which also heals any kind of undead around it. So it's a great... Andrew, thank you very much. Andrew just donated $22 towards the final pool. The final pool. The final pool at the end of this here. All right, and we also have... okay, so we've talked about all that. I'm sorry. Moving over here, that poo really kind of threw me off. And we have our lovely Chaos front line here. A lot of halberds, Chaos Warriors with halberds, and great weapons, and more great weapons. So it looks like Gojira and some Chosen, but not with great weapons or halberds. And it looks like he was expecting more Graveguard. Now, these guys are going to be strong against what they're fighting against because they outclass skeletons and zombies so much so. But they're not going to be as effective as they would, obviously the great weapons and the halberds, against large creatures that the Vampire Counts can usually field or Graveguard. But he did go with Kolak Sun Eater and a Chaos Sorcerer of Death. So he is looking to do some lovely damage here. So he's got Soul Leech, he's got Fate of Buna on him. Oh man, what is this? What is this action? They meet in the middle, parlay. It does terrible damage to the Chosen right there. No, it is not using the new Spectator mode. I wish, Whiskey Jack. But he does have some Chaos Chariots here. They're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage. You got a Screeching, or Sonic Scream, whatever it is from the Chaos on the Chaos Chariot, knocking one of them out and doing quite a bit of damage. But they are completely uncontested in the air, so they can fly over willy-nilly and cause as much terror as they so wish. Interestingly enough, though, they've just kind of held their position. All these armies are really going to be able to muck up and lock down these Chosen, so they'll be able to pick and choose their fights a little bit better. Let's see how this really goes. This turned out to be a pretty interesting little initial engagement. Yeah, I didn't have enough time to find like a official medieval-looking UI. Really, the Red Duke and the Terrorgeist are looking for a chance to swoop down and just take something out. They are pretty evenly matched here. I mean, Kolek Sun Eater is anti-large, he is AP, he does have the ability to really just do a ton of damage. He does have the Lord of the Storm, which is a small strike, little area, it's got a small little thing, it does a lot of damage to a particular unit. It's better used on CAD that's engaged or units that can do a lot of damage into it. He does not have his hammer, which is a huge boost to the AP damage. Oh man, the initial engagement's getting in there. Kolek's looking to bulldoze through some zombies. Oh, Kolek smash! Man, eating up those zombies, but that is again the intention here. What they did though is screen into this Blood Knight's charge to try and get Kolek down, jumping in with the Red Duke. LC has probably been tripped out on him. There it is, minus 22 to physical resistance and to speed. Terrorgeist coming in as well here. These are Chaos Warriors with great weapons, so they are not going to be as terrifying as the halberd versions, but nonetheless, everything's going to converge in that center point now. This is pretty much the tipping point of the match. Whatever happens here is going to dictate the rest of the flow. Whoever wins this engagement, even if it's not a death, is going to really have momentum to really kind of push through the rest of the fight. As you can see, the Red Duke having to back out. The other Blood Knights coming in to try and just kind of tangle up that Kolek Sun Eater here. And you can see that it looks like Kolek kind of reigns supreme on that. You've got the Red Duke who's coming back in full health. The Terrorgeist is just getting out of it. Still at full health, though. But these Blood Knights are going to get hit with the Lord of Storms. Watch it. Watch it. Oh, right there. Just blowing them up, shooting those vampires off their horses. Got the Mortis engine here involved in some combat, giving the buffs to their little bros here. But these Skeleton Spearmen are just not going to hold up against these Chosen. They're going to just get crushed to dust. This is a pretty interesting fight going on here because you have a lot going on this side, and this engagement is pretty much one-sided versus this one, which is again going a little bit more one-sided as well. But another charge here into the Red Duke, trying to get both of these Blood Knights onto Kolek Sun Eater as fast as possible, trying to shut him down. But Kolek Sun Eater can do quite a bit of damage to the Red Duke, but he does have a Spirit Leech Sherbert onto him, so he's going to be taking more damage outside of every single hit from Kolek Sun Eater as it chips away health every time it bashes into him. Those Blood Knights are in bad shape here. Nothing can really kind of get to grips on Kolek. They are kind of getting screened naturally by the size of both of these units, so it is pretty brutal. Ooh, you got Chaos Warriors with halberds jumping onto these. That is going to be really brutal for those Blood Knights because those halberds are anti-large, not like because the great weapons were not, so do remember that. Oh man, cyclocharging from Kolek into the Mortis engine, which is going to be really brutal because that Mortis engine is really what's anchoring the line for the majority of the vampire counts. As you can see, these two Chosen, or the Chosen and Warriors over here, are free now to join in on this fray. Trying to get that charge in here. Terrorgeist jumping out of Kolek as well. Elsif again being triggered off. That huge minus to melee defense. Seeing if they can try and get this really quick alpha strike in here. Going for the throat is a really crucial role right now, because if they can knock down Kolek, they can knock down the majority of this army, which is going to be terror routing, fear routing, all sorts of leadership negativities being kicked off across it. By negativities, I mean penalties. Oh, get it. Oh, it's so close. Jesus. That bat just got hit in the face. It's so close. It's like just there. I think they just can't get to bears because there's just so many units going on here. We got a summon coming up? Yeah, some zombies to really kind of hold down these units in the back here. Keep them pinned. Help our Terrorgeist get out of conflict here. But it looks like one more charge from Dov Plays is going to be the nail in the coffin for Goji's Kolek Sun Eater here. Uh-oh, here it is. Kolek going down. Oh, the Bat Wings of Doom. Just escapes. But that Terrorgeist is on the other side here. Terrorgeist is looking to do some hurting for some squirting. There it is. Oh, scream over here. Okay. I thought he was going to go here, but that Kolek is now fleeing off the board. All of the Chaos are now having a hard time staying in the fight here. So if that Terrorgeist gets onto Kolek, it's going to knock him out. This Chaos Sorcerer of Death is really going to get just slapped around by the Red Duke as soon as he lands again. It looks like Gojira is in a bad position. The Red Duke is going to bring some noise, bring some pain down. Here it is. Boom! All up into these Chosen here, knocking their leadership down significantly. Quite a few units are still on the board for the vampire counts that can at least just overwhelm all of these Warriors of Chaos. And there it is. Alpha Strike into the Warriors of Chaos, pulling the win out, which is now settled. The game is now won. The match is now over. I'm done fucking up. There it is. A great play by Dov Plays and Gojira there. But Dov Plays comes out on top, and it looks like it is Janet on Occasion versus Dov Plays in the finals. And I'm right. I'm right with that one. I know I'm right. So let's go talk to these little boys. That was weird. To these boys in the Discord chat here real quick. Oh my god. Here go them. Goji. All right. You have been abducted. You are now live on the stream. Goji, Dov, talk. That last battle was a vicious cockfight yet again. What were you expecting in that fight, Goji? Like your army looked like you were expecting more Graveguard.
Yes, I was expecting. Well, actually, I was expecting even more Terrorgeist spam. Honestly, I was not expecting as many Blood Knights, but Dov always brings Blood Knights, so oh well. Because the halberd and his chosen are just they'll tank through his entire infantry corps. It's just dealing with the Terrorgeist or whatever. And if you just have halberds down there, it's actually not that terrible because then the Terrorgeists have to come to you, and the breaths are annoying, but whatever. But the Blood Knights fuck me up for sure. Yeah.
Let it be said that breaths are annoying.
Yeah.
Yes. And
yes.
Dov, what were you expecting when you went into your build?
I was definitely thinking Kolek, or some either Big Bird or some other big monsters, potentially some Chosen and stuff. So that's why I brought the Mortis engine, just to kind of drain out those elite infantry. And then obviously the Terrorgeist and the Red Duke are meant to counter either Kolek or Big Bird, or I mean even Sigvald could potentially get gooned by them. But just in general, the Terrorgeist really good against a lot of the monsters that Chaos can bring. Mm-hmm. And then I figured just a bunch of chaff to throw bodies at Gojira, and then the Blood Knights could kind of clean up, like Chaos Knights with lances, or if he had Dragon Ogres, or help support against Shaggoths or whatever. So yeah, worked out pretty well. The all Goblin thing did not work out quite as well, but we got to keep the dream alive.
Man, the People's Champion, you definitely went with a lot of interesting picks, and I know how much you hate the Steam Tank, so I was surprised to see the Steam Tank in your army in the first fight.
Yeah, decided to try it out. I know so many people, after I made that video, were rushing to defend it in the comments section. I'm like, okay, let's give this thing a shot. I still don't think it's great. Like the Stegodon, the Bone Giant, they're all better, but it's not useless. And that's the thing about that video that I made, the top list. It's all the monsters on that list they're not useless. They're just not as good as other monsters, in my opinion. But yeah, it turned out okay.
Well,
yeah. I like the Warlock engineer in that fight. He just never gets to be used or seen. He has no utility in most situations. But that one actually got a Warp Gale freaking Gelt, got him off.
Yeah, you were putting Warp Gale Gelt down, and then you had a lot of Warp Lightnings going off. Like into that Free Company Militia, you got 2 go off, knocking down 50% of its health. Like, I think the Warlock engineer is not one to be underestimated.
Certainly.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us here for this one. It looks like you're moving on to the next one, though, Davi. So we'll see you against pro player Janet on Occasion after our quick little intermission and I change up some stuff. So, guys, if you haven't, go ahead and check out Gojira Gaming. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So does Dov Plays. Dov talks a lot about the... what would you say you focus on primarily in your YouTube channel, Dov?
Mostly multiplayer, just kind of... highlighting the different factions. It's more focused towards new players, although I do have some high-level, more competitive type content on there as well. But yeah, if you guys want to get into multiplayer, definitely check my channel out.
And Goji, please,
yeah.
Plug your channel now.
I plug me. I just fuck around. I just fuck around pretty much. And if you guys want to have fun, I am
Okay, it's time for the final. Stop it. And transition on back. All right. Oops. I forgot to jump into the proper game. Let's find it. All right. So we are in our finals. This is a best of 5 now. It is Janet on occasion versus Dov plays. Janet's going to be playing the High Elves to start us out. And then we have the lovely Clan Angren. And I know I say lovely a lot, but deal with it. So this will be, again, a best of 5. 25% of all donations are going to go towards the winner. I think we've had a number of donations so far, up to, I'd say, 50. So we'll $50. We'll see what that is at the end of this, hopefully. And we'll get things going. We're going to make this a little bit faster. Since this is a best of 5 portion, we want this to be a bit quicker, so we'll spend less time post-battle and more time on the actual battles themselves. And we're back. Ugh, that's a gudgeon. I don't know, Bacon. It was a pretty brutal one. Papa T is probably nursing his hand. He had a pretty wild day yesterday, so he'll be having a flash tournament later this week, maybe even tomorrow. I'll talk to him, so you can expect to see that. We want to get Loxlon Soothsayer, Romulan Dog, Indie Pride, Loremaster Sofek involved in these, so you'll see them on one of our, one if not both of our flash tournaments. Yeah, this is predominantly Turn's idea, of course, so. That was being called Professor Pone. Oops. Not anymore, he's not. Professor Dav. Okay, I'm actually just going to tell them to go for it. Going to make this a bit faster. I want to spend more time in the actual fights and less time in the actual setup. But we do see a really good elite infantry corps here with Jenna on occasion. Him with L'Ariel, who's a great competitive choice. She does have that Star of Averlorn. She does have her lovely Stave of Averlorn, so she has a really great replenishment for her Winds of Magic, and also she can do quite a bit of actual healing. She is such a monster because she has a dual kit of High and Life Magic. So she has Earthblood. Arcane and Forging is an interesting choice here, but she also has Frost Protection and her Arcane Conduit, so she's going to be really great. The biggest thing for her, though, is Shield Son of Aisha. She gives 12% of physical resistance, as well as the Boon of Aisha. Or where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? There it is. Marshall. No, where? Ah. Ugh. Remember when I had all these really great things to talk about, and I couldn't find the actual thing that's like going to highlight what I want to talk about? Well, never mind. She gets her physical resistance buff. I'll go with that for now, but she also buffs things around her, just like we see with the Fey Enchantress. So she is a really, really great lord here, but we see a lot of Sword Masters of Hoeth from Janet on occasion. It's White Lines of Trace. Everything that's designed to crack open armor in the army of the High Elves, minus the Sisters of Averlorn, is being fielded by Janet on occasion. Now, Dov Plays has gone with again. You always want to have these onion layers of an army like this, or even of Empire. So you see these layers. He's got up front. He's got organ guns, which are going to mulch through. They do have AP. They do have a really great damage profile, so they're going to mulch through a lot of the heavy army we see from the 90 armor Hoeth, or I'm sorry, 90 armor White Lions, 110 armor Hoeth, I think it is. As we double check. Oh, 90 armor, but they also have a little bit of magic resistance, or I'm sorry, range resistance, so they can take a little bit more. And then miners with blasting charges in the front line to kind of block those charges, kind of disrupt them a little bit. Dwarf Warriors, which are a really good staple. They could have been Dwarf Warriors with great weapons to really get more damage in, but that's kind of a risky pick sometimes against tiles. You never know if they're going to go wide on normal Spearmen or not. But 3 Illyrian Reaver Archers here. These guys are going to be able to harass that back line, really help lock down the Dwarfs here. And I really like that as a choice from Jenna on occasion. Charging right into those miners here. I think he's looking to push through into the back line, but or he's just looking to do some quick cycle charging and disruption. And what he's really doing is focusing the artillery fire onto the Illyrian Reavers, because you can't leave them free to do what they want, but at the same time, he's leaving the rest of his army to really kind of have the open field to charge across. Alarielle takes a whole bunch of charges to the face, another set of them, doesn't do a significant amount of damage to her. Swordmasters of Hoeth starting to get ready for their big charge against these miners, and you have some White Lions of Trace. They're going to just get clipped here as they charge into these Dwarf Warriors. Get in there. Oh, bringing them back, look at that. Hacking to the back of these guys, choosing a new target. Swordmasters coming over here into these Dragonback Slayers, which Dragonback Slayers are going to trade very effectively into these Swordmasters of Hoeth, because they also have AP and anti-infantry. Let's take a look at the battlefield as a whole. And as you can see, Janet on occasion is trying to just get the really good engagements in the front here, and also wrap around with his Swordmasters of Hoeth. And Dov went with a Rune Lord, not Thorgrim here. So he's getting some magic, or some physical resistance, not magic resistance. So 44 with a Master Rune of Negation, kicking off across the line, helping his beleaguered miners stay in the fight as they just square off against tons and tons of White Lions and Swordmasters of Hoeth. But the big fight is really over here. As these guys push through, they're going to be able to roll through the majority of the Dwarf firing line. Our Illyrian Reaver archers have charged into the backline as well, shutting down this Dwarf cannon. They still have the Oregon gun online, but both Dwarf cannons are mucked up entirely. But you do have some Slayers coming in here, and they're going to do a pretty good job of just knocking out those Illyrian Reavers hard and heavy. Uh-oh. I didn't even see this guy. We have Dramar Hammerfist. He'll be a really good choice because he's ethereal, so he'll negate 75% of physical damage done to him. And like I was saying, those Swordmasters of Hoeth are just having a field day. Using Alarielle to charge and lock down cannons is a really good choice here because she can get in and out of combat quickly against the Dwarfs. So he's using every kind of tool at his disposal to lock down Dov as best he can. But the Master on the hill here, both these Runesmith and Rune Lord, trying to hold off against these White Lions of Trace. Swordmaster charge coming into these Dwarf Warriors. It's not going to be good for them. It was already not good against White Lions of Trace, but man, it's going to be just a double mulch city now going on. Making sure my mic, check. Yeah, okay. Still working. Heart of Avalorn kicking off over here to get some healing out. And again, like I say, Alarielle can get so much healing out in conjunction with her Arcane Conduit, with her Stave of Avalorn, with her Earthblood ability, with her Heart of Avalorn. She can just be a healing battery for the entire army. I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion here. I think that Janet on occasion has this first match in the bag against Dov Plays. All that's really left is this bastion of Rune Lord and Runesmith squaring off against heavy AP anti-infantry units, which is just not going to spell well for these gentlemen. Alarielle can come over here and smack up this engineer. Quickly, my toilet, get me out of combat! Oh! Alarielle coming in, trying to get some damage done onto, ooh, Master Rune of Negation kicking off here as well. And that Master Rune of Negation is just keeping these both in the fight so much longer. Like, they just pretty much can sit there and tank through all that damage with that Master Rune on. Oh, sorry, guys. There we go. And like I was saying, Alarielle does have magic attacks, so she's probably the only one that's going to do raw damage to Dramar himself. Dramar is ethereal. He does cause terror. You can ever actually... God, you know what? This is just... That's it. Well, he's got physical resistance of like 75% because he's ethereal. It's so hard to actually navigate on them. So Dov decided to concede here. Kind of saw it was a foregone conclusion that we have the first win for Janet on occasion. That was pretty brutal, but it was also pretty goddamn fun. Because nothing's more fun than watching the High Elves beat the Dwarfs. Victory! Like I was saying, 104, 122, 80, 53, 92. Those Swordmasters of Hoeth did their job. Janet went very narrow with very elite core and the Illyrian Reaver archers to pressure the backline, and it worked out very well for him because he was able to use the trees to his advantage, move through the cover of the trees, dodging a lot of the range attacks from the dwarves, and getting up close and personal. All right, let's update that scoreboard while they kind of get their armies ready. Round 2, first one to pro player Janet on occasion. As After Effects decides to boot itself up. Thank you, After Effects, but now you're not needed. Export as. It's really nice when you do the invitational, because then it's all just like you have a production team doing it for you. You don't have to look jankety. There we go. All right, so it looks like we're doing Dark Elves from Janet on occasion. Dav is choosing his army right now. We're going to be getting another really good one here. So it's first one in the books for Janet. Who can say here if it's? I unfortunately don't have the Streamlabs thing open. I was going to start doing more polls right now, but unfortunately I don't. So if you're rooting for Dav plays, go ahead and type F. Let's see how many people are rooting for the mighty Dav. And if you're rooting for pro player Janet on occasion, go ahead and type J. So let's see what we get. J for Janet, F for Dav plays. Get the book, Thorgrim. All right, so we got actually a lot of people rooting here for Dav plays. Only 4 people for Janet so far. 5, 6, 7 for Janet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for Dav plays. Man, yeah, so it seems like a lot of people are rooting for the Dav, the people's champion. No, it's F because F's like the common thing to go with. And then I was like, oh man, what should I do for Janet? J just seems easy. But the real question is, are they going to open up a third slot, and is Gobbo going to come in out of nowhere and beat both? That's the real one, right? If you want that to happen, type G. Okay, Mike. Getting frisky, grabbing my tits. Check, check, check. Mike's still working fine. G, B for British. Man, look at all those G's. People want the Gobbo. All right, so it looks like we're gonna have Dark Elves squaring off against Chaos. Is there a cat there? I don't see a cat. On Golden Monolith. Yeah, no cat. Just checking. Have there been any High Elf matches, Titan Spartacus? Harvier just asked. Yes, we just saw a High Elf match. I think that was the first High Elf match of the day, actually. That will be up on the VOD once we put it up. Interesting choices by... Hey, thanks for subscribing, man. So, cool thing here is that this is going to be a pretty interesting fight. The Dark Elves kind of have their work cut out for them because they have an access to quite a bit of AP, but Janet is no fool. He does not fall for the trap of just taking tons of Dark Shards. What we're going to see what Dav goes with. Is he going to go with a heavy line of Marauder Horsemasters? Is he going to go with a heavy line of Chosen? There's a lot of options he can choose because there are so many different ways you can kind of build out. Are we going to see Kolak Suneater again? So I'm very curious to see what we see in this match. Can I change now to F? Yes, Season Jixt. I'll allow it. All right, I need a report. Professor Pone, what's our likes to viewer ratio? Looks like I'm seeing 175 viewers. How many likes do we have right now? How many tiny thumbs? How many people are thumbing me? $151. All right, keeping it up there. Here, have a thumb. Thank you, Geistfeld. All right, once these guys get their armies, we'll be going here. 1 dislike. I have 1 dislike on all my videos, no matter what. No matter what. I think it's someone. It's probably like. It's probably Turin. Turin's probably just jumping on and just going, heh, clicking the dislike. You're doing shots of Bacardi? Oh my... We could always stand to have more likes, guys, though. We're at 169 right now, 170. Keeping likes on there is always huge. Now it's 2 dislikes. That was Gabo. That was definitely Gabo. Roasting me. Oh, look at that gleaming golden monolith. Oh. All right. I was the second, but not the first. What do you mean, Sean? The Golden Dong of Doom. I didn't say you were a troll. That was Professor Pone. Gobble King coming in here, saying what people say. So Malekith here on not on Seraphon. So trying to counter the Collect Sun Eater choice, because Seraphon will absolutely get slapped around by Collect Sun Eater. Cold One still a large target, but this kind of helps him at least not get focused down by Marauder Horsemasters as easily, stuff like that. Now, we do see some... Oh, yes. This is our first time we've seen them in today's fight. The Doomfire Warlocks. These guys have bound spells of the Soul Stealer, which is awesome, and Word of Pain, which is not awesome when you're choosing the Lore of Dark, but to have it as a bound spell is pretty, advantageous. You can really get up close and personal without taking as much damage. And they have a lot of physical resist, 40%. So it's hard to really take these guys down if you do not have any magic damage to counter them. Then, of course, 2 units of Dark Shards, a front line of Dread Spears with the center of Harganeth Executioners, and then the Raven Heralds with the Repeater Crossbows and supporting fire roll. Now, a large contingent of Marauder Horsemen, so we did talk about that as an option. We're seeing it here. Sarthoriel is brought by Dov Plays as well. Center line of Chaos Marauders, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, some Chaos Warhounds with poison to really kind of get in the back line or to screen any charges. 3 units of them, in fact, supported with Dragon Ogre Shaggoths as well. So he's got 5 total Marauder Horsemen, so he's really going to be able to outclass these Raven Heralds pretty quickly if he gets those in a good range. Sarthoriel himself is a terror in the night. I mean, Sarthoriel, the changer of ways that he is, a Greater Demon, 2 Tzeentch. Let's see what he went with if I ever get a chance to look at it. Just fuck my ass, right? Look at that. There we go. Final Transmutation. He has Standard Die and Arcane Conduit, so he's pretty much just going to be using him as a terror battery. Got a lot of magic resist, a lot of physical resist, trying to get up close and personal. Janet here trying to make a little bit of a defensive geometry against a pretty wide front line here of Chaos Marauders, but a lot of cav to deal with. As you can see, these Marauder Horsemasters are going to just start chucking at these Dread Spears. Got a couple little initial kills in here. Murder is in the air. Look at Sarthoriel, looking just to eke forward with that Final Transmutation. Guess what? These are the Regiment of Renown units for the Dark Riders. So Dark Riders on Dark Pegasus, they have AP, they still have their Repeater Crossbows. They're a pretty crazy unit. Sarthoriel is just kind of skirting out here on the sides, trying to kind of open up something for them to get into. Those Slaanesha's Harvesters are going to do a lot of damage to Marauder Horsemen if they can catch them. The problem is they're going to be able to just get kited beyond into oblivion if they don't. Again, probing for any kind of weakness here. Dov is trying to play a little more defensive, trying to find some kind of like opening in this formation here, because Dov is a game down. So he does not want to just crash and burn here on this initial engagement. He wants to make sure he catches things out as best he can. But it looks like Jen is going to be getting an initial charge here. Oh, Shaggoth into Malekith. Let's see what happens here as this kind of unfolds. Sarthoriel jumping into these Dread Spears, taking them out real quickly with those Screen of their Chaos Warhounds. Trying to jump in here as well, get into that back line. All over those Dark Shards as well. Dread Spears coming to reinforce them, try and knock out these Marauder Horsemen. But then you also have Cold One Knights, which do have anti-large and AP. So they can put quite a hurt on both Sarthoriel and the majority of these Marauder Horsemasters. These Harganeth Executioners are going to absolutely eat up these Chaos Marauders. They have AP and anti-infantry. They're just such buzzsaws. Uh-oh. Here comes a charge. Oh, right into these Marauder Horsemen. Trying to just kind of keep them locked down. Keep those javelins out of the fight. But this is looking pretty brutal here for Janet. He does have a lot going on, but those Shaggoths are just running hot and wild in the background, like just riding dirty. The Sartoriel just bird wings all over the place. Just the beast with two backs again, double-headed here. Now what Janet's trying to do here is, there it is, trying to use the rampage mechanic of these Witch Elves poison on both Sartoriel and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. By doing this, he's going to try to envelop them with the spears, get these dark shards onto them, and hopefully bring down really one of the scariest things in the Chaos roster right now, which is Sartoriel. Bring in these Cold One Spear Riders. They're looking just to bring down these large beasts as fast as possible, as Janet kind of gets a little bit better of a grip on the battlefield here. Uh-oh. Shaggoth is really hurting. You got dark shards ripping in through the back of this scaly beast itself. Sartoriel's at under half health. Has Word of Pain triggered on him, so he's not going to be hitting very much. Oh no! Shaggoth's fleeing off the field here. Those Chaos Marauder Horsemen looking to do whatever they can to kind of just relieve Sartoriel, but he is just constantly being brought down and down and down by these Witch Elves. This Dark Shard unit has just been completely going wild. You're going to have these Raven Heralds hunt this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth off the map. Murderous Prowess is triggered just not too long ago, so you have even more damage coming out of Chaos side as Sartoriel kind of is on his last feather. 843 health. He looks to flee away, finally breaking Rampage, but is met by the Dark Shard's just ceaseless hail of bolts. Oh. And now they have a new target. Pushing these Cold One Knights onto Sartoriel, but Sartoriel's looking to shut down these Dark Shards finally. Look at him, just getting that beak in. Getting that beak just beak deep. Just to the base of the beak. Malekith coming in here to try and put an end to Sartoriel. He's so low in health, 326. Anything now is going to help them out. But I think that its army loss is kicking in for the Chaos as Dov retreats and Janet pulls ahead 2-0 against the mighty Dov plays. Now those Witch Elves, I've said this before, they can really kind of tank high-value targets, and it's not tanking in the sense of absorbing damage. They can lock a target down by using that Rampage mechanic from their poison. Those Witch Elves are 800, 900 points, and they were able to lock down both the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and Sartoriel, which is over 3,000 points of total cost. So it was a huge return for Janet here, and it went from a pretty kind of crazy maelstrom of a fight to really being a controlled, like methodical destruction of the large targets for Janet on occasion. He was able to get his Dark Shards online and just non-stop bring down Sartoriel and that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. So that was hot and heavy. Yeah, Miles Drake said that you should have sniped out those Witch Elves, and yeah, 100%. Witch Elves have got very little. I think it's either 5 or 10 armor, so they cannot take the combined might of all 5 of those Horse Masters. Okay, so round 3. Janet is up 2-0. Is this it? Is this the one where Janet pulls ahead and wins? This could be it. Right now, it's do or die. Dov is 2 down, best of 5, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. This is best of 5, Joshua. Anyone donating 25% of the wins do go towards the winner of the match. So that is a heads up on that after YouTube and all that action. It's Team Jag. Gobble King is over here rooting heavily for Janet on occasion. It looks like it's going to be Beastmen versus Bretonia. What might be the final match of the day? It really depends on how this match goes. If Janet can't pull this win out, Dov is going to bring us to a 4th match, as it'll become a 2-1 match. But if again Janet wins right here, that is all she wrote. Take a look over at chat. We have 193 people watching us today. Is this an impromptu tournament? Yeah, it absolutely is, Matt. Turn and I both do these now. Mainly Turn. This is my first one. It's called the Warpstone Cup for a reason. because there's not going to be... so I'll hold these whenever I want, and that'll be the winner of the Warpstone Cup. This should be multiple people. It's not going to pass from person to person. So we'll actually have a finals of the Warpstone Cup, where we have multiple winners of that cup competing. Same way we'll do that for the Everchosen Invitational. We'll have kind of like an all-star Everchosen, all the winners of the Everchosen squaring off against each other. And who knows, if we keep having Gobble King in all the Everchosen Invitationals, maybe he'll win them all, and it'll just be Gobble versus himself, which is the most ultimate enemy of all, right? Yourself. Where's my Queek? He has not been showcased today. The problem with Queek is he's a pretty underpowered lord because he's a foot lord, and he doesn't have a lot going for him. Kind of the same way that Grimgor is, and a number of other foot lords. The Everchosen. You're right, the light that burns the sun. Good for all with Gobbo versus Gobbo versus Gobbo versus Gobbo. The most deadly of matches. Can't really do anything. Yeah, I agree. I just want to see standard bearers out of the game more than anything. Grom the punch. Grom the punch. Grom the punch. Alright, so let's take a look here. Oh, hoo, hoo. Dov playing a risky choice in Beastman versus Bretonia. Bretonia is kind of a tricky one because he's gone with... He's gone with the people's choice. A fat line of peasants versus a fat line of cavalry. He's got Knights of the Realm, Knights of the Lionhearted, which are the Regiment of Renown version of the Knights of the Realm, which are basically like discount, diet version of Grail Knights, because they have lances here. Grail Knights, of course, magic and anti-large. Significant amount of damage coming out from them. I think it's just Knights of the Realm and Grail Knights. Oh, and it also has some Knights Errant. The Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. Now, you don't see these guys too often because they have Frenzy, so they're a little bit stronger than your typical Knights Errant. Their leadership is a little bit higher too, and that Frenzy kind of makes them a little bit more of a mainstay. And then the Champions of Quenelle. These guys are pretty awesome because they are your Regiment of Renown. Oh god, they're going hog wild. Regiment of Renown. Questing Knight, they have Blessing the Lady, which gives them 20% physical resistance. Let's get this going here. We have a clash, just a mighty clash of all forces. Ungor Spearmen clashing against these peasant mobs, being screened. We're screening the massive cavalry charges. Centaurs on the flank here. Oh man. These Centaurs all have great weapons, so they're going to be able to do a significant amount of damage to all of this cavalry. Man, look at this. This is going to be micro-insanity, says someone in the chat, and I totally agree. Uh-oh, we have a charge in the back line here against just a generic Beast Lord with King Lowen trying to get the early kill, the Alpha Strike on their Lord here. We have a really crazy battle going on. We have the Horn of the First Beast going on, Apocalyptic Vision, everything's just triggering across the entire army. Rear charge being set up by the Grail Knights into this little pocket, trying to probably knock out these Butchers of Kalkengard. But screened by the Chaos Warhounds, which are going to pretty much stop that charge and it's dead in its tracks. Is there a Life Damsel? I did not see it. Oh, there's a Life Damsel. Okay, so that Life Damsel is going to be able to keep alive the majority of these fighting forces here as they kind of mulch through. The heavy armor should see them through to the end here as they just cycle charge back and forth into these gore herds. Good God, look at this maelstrom in the center. The Beast Lord and King Lewin trying to square off, but you've got these Razor Gore herds, you've got these Gores going over the place. Like, you have Centaurs with great weapons trying to trigger against them, but a heal goes off, Earthblood against that, and a Spirit Leech going off into King Lowen. Then you have Ungor charging into these Grail Knights, which are completely surrounded now at this point. But against some pretty low tier infantry, they might be able to hold it out. We'll see. Oh man, look at it. Lowen having a hard time here. Oh, and it looks like Dov concedes. Well, it looks like the first winner of the Warpstone Cup is Janet on occasion. And for some reason, yeah, it didn't update our. And he wins in a landslide win, is what it looks like. Export as. For some reason, it didn't update our thing. Let's do that right now. There we go. So Janet on occasion pulls ahead in what might have been a fight for the people. I think that Dov wanted to showcase a champion of the people here, showcasing a ton of cavalry against beastmen, which is so fun to see, right? Just hoove on hoove action. So we can see that alpha strike against the beast lord didn't quite work for Dov, as Janet was able to really bring Lowen down quickly, and at that point it was kind of a little bit of a foregone conclusion because there was so much full health units for Janet on occasion. But let's get a little quick last minute interview with our gents and see what they have to say. Welcome to the interview that closes out the stream. Dov plays and Janet.
I like the jingle. Did you just make that up?
On the spot, just for you, Janet on occasion.
You mean you didn't bother to prepare anything in advance for your audience? That's a bit lazy.
You think I would ever prepare anything in advance for the audience? The only thing I prepared in advance is that scoreboard.
Which, to be fair, it did often say the right name, so that was pretty good.
Often. Dov is Professor Dov versus Janet Pro Player on Gojira. So guys, that was a pretty quick one here. Dov, was that last one definitely like a people's choice? Like wanted to go with just a crap ton of cav?
Yeah, well, I've found that usually works pretty well against the Beastmen, but I'm not really sure what happened in this replay. I'll have to go back and rewatch it because my cav just like died. Like I don't know, they charged in, they didn't do any damage, and then they just died. So I don't know, maybe their charge got interrupted or something. And Lewin also died way faster than I expected him to as well. So yeah, I mean, I thought the build would be good, but clearly Janet is a pro player, and I'm no match for him, obviously.
Well, if you frame
I don't think anyone here is a match for Janet.
If you
not even Gabo King.
Oh, calling out Gabo, calling out the other side of Janet on pro player Janet on occasion. Team Jag. Oh man. Janet and Gabo.
Hashtag Jag Army.
Yeah, I mean Gabo's not even a top 8 player, and you know Janet's a pro, so.
I mean, one of them has got their shirt framed on the wall, so that's pretty huge. What was your idea going into this one, Janet, for at least the last engagement here? What do you typically try to go with? Let's see, you went with a lot of Centaurs with great weapons, so you're trying to counter that heavy cav play?
Yeah, I find if you outnumber them, it works out great, because if you can get surrounds on them, you know, they just lack that defense. And also, I just went with the standard Beast Lord, because he's really cheap, and he's got some really good attack buffs, and basically my plan was to try and wrap it up as quickly as possible, so I don't need those buffs to actually last long. So they were basically running for half the battle there, and I was able to get the advantage early. So